Hello, and welcome to Jarviskjir Horn and Plenty. I saw you trying to interrupt me before I could start there. I saw you revving your engines, trying to beat me in the drag race that is introducing this show before one of you tangents immediately. Hey.
Well, I thought this time we'd actually let you complete your intro uninterrupted.
It's less interesting.
Wasn't it nice? Wasn't it nice? Like that
like
little zen moment.
That's a meta tangent.
Yeah. You got one over by me by not getting one over by me. I get it. Neat. Okay, cool. Here we are. I'm excited to play. Feels like it's been 10,000 years. It hasn't. It's been like 2 days in universe. As we had a very dramatic session last week.
Had a run-in with a bad dragon.
It's
not
factually true.
Technically correct. The best type of correct.
You, not me, you got captured by Minotaur and Malakes, the dragon that is commanding them, on your way back to Cornucopia. I'm not going to say hijinks ensued. Stuff happened. You escaped, you got out.
I started a revolution.
You may have started, turning some of the Minotaur around. Not all of them believe in the way their tribe has gone.
I just want it noted that in a very rare event, one of my stupid self-sacrificial plans actually resulted in me not sacrificing myself.
That's true, yeah.
That's a rare event that needs noting. Anyway, yeah. Yes, continue.
In getting
Mark
back,
your calendars, buds.
In getting back, the community has been turned to the plan of building a wall around Cornucopia before winter sets in, which could be any day now. Because the Minotaur might attack any day now. In doing so, your grandma druid lady, whose name I knew until now, Leha, came up with the idea of maybe that you can commune with a spirit of the forest to make what she's calling a green wall.
A living wall.
A living wall. Well, it would be green as well. Hopefully.
It's really making the Mexicans pay for it. I'm on fire.
You should burn out, please.
The thing is, we did make that joke last week, so he's technically a week late with it.
No, we already made a Trump, but I'll explain that one to you in the break.
And I needed that coffee for this shit show.
Your dainty cup was perfect for that it was so good. Oh, I loved it.
Who are you calling dainty?
Your cup.
I didn't think my camera was down that low. Anyway! The plan is to communicate with a spirit of the forest to create a living wall that will help keep out the corruption as well as be protective during the winter and all that good stuff. Kind of turn Cornucopia back to its spiritual roots. That is where we begin today. It would have been a couple of days later. Probably just like 2 days, because we did a lot of like role playing and stuff during your rest period. You guys had a brutal time in the Minotaur camp, and a lot of you were very injured. So this is one of those times where you actually took the chance to take a couple of days of rest while researching things and planning what to do next. And there is actually a plan. While it would be sensible to communicate with this forest spirit first, there's also the other concept of going down into the mines, into the ancient gnomish ruins behind the mines, and delving further, because you know there's stuff further in there. The people who have been working the mines have sort of cleared the way enough that would be possible when you would be interested in doing so. So there is a bit of discussion of what to do next. Torin, what would you have been doing for like a day and another day? How time works.
What went on? Come here. My cat's playing hard to get. She came up to me and meowed at me and then backed off when I went to pick her up. Torin's worried about the spiritual situation in terms of chopping down trees. He's also been given a new target. He would be setting about either having made by someone or making himself a second pendant to add to his necklace. He would have an acorn, either painted silver or whatever, silver-colored acorn to go alongside the amethyst crystal of the horn.
I kind of imagine you silver plated. You know, you don't have much need for silver.
Yeah, it
so
certainly wouldn't be
like
silver,
just like melting down like 2 silver coins and plating a wooden acorn with a thin layer of silver, I think would be appropriate. Yeah, awesome. This is a bit like making one's lightsaber, you know. While your first amulet to Eirik was given to you, I believe.
It was.
This being a bit more of a personal decision and kind of having a real good reason to do this, to reach out to Oilin, the spirit of nature. It would be something you do yourself with Lehar's supervision. Lehar, your mentor, has been looking over old books. And by old books, I mean old books. No one in your community makes books. You might, write down things that are necessary, but you don't make books, you don't buy in books. The books that she has here are books that the settlers brought over when Cornucopia was first founded. And so they're water-damaged, they're moth-eaten, old tomes about the spirits and faith, right? And your religion. And has been trying to research more and more about forest spirits and gaining their favor.
Okay. And the current plan so far in terms of that was we'd have to go and find the forest spirits and prove our strength, probably.
Yes.
At which point, hopefully, we could gain their blessing.
That's the idea. I even imagine this would be a good time as you finish your amulet to straight ask that of Lehar, and she would nod and say that there is a history of such spirits granting their mercy to those they deem appropriate. But I doubt would be able to communicate with such ancient beings, even with your tree. I think it would be difficult to communicate with such ancient beings.
I suppose that's true. Though Amaryllis seems to have spells for the such. Perhaps she might be able to. Perhaps I should inquire.
What Amaryllis is can't be too far from a forest spirit. My only reason to doubt is it says here that, big book in front of... Lehar isn't small. She's because she used to be a barbarian warrior. She's got a pretty big body, but thin arms and fingers now as she's aged. And as flicking through it and spirits older than the world we know. So ancient. Amaryllis can't be that old, although I suppose none of us have inquired. We should cut her open and count the rings inside.
Well, I suppose it doesn't hurt to ask, nonetheless.
Yes, I believe you'd have best bet looking in the forest that your friend Belara calls home. That's the largest chunk of forest near here, and also one so close to the river that it's spilled of corruption. I think the corruption might aid in spirits awakening. They will be more grouchy and cantankerous than usual, and these books do not claim them to be the most pleasant individuals anyway.
I see.
You imagine if you fell asleep for a long, long time and woke up and your house was on fire. You probably wouldn't be very happy.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I understand that. Be like if someone just came in and woke you up, eh, Leha?
Yeah,
He grins.
Giving people a wrapping for less.
All right. I'll speak to Amaryllis, see whether she might know a way to communicate. If we can avoid having to contest with them, that's for the best. And then I'll speak with Belle and see where she thinks might be most likely.
She just kind of nods and shuffles back into a better reading position at her, like, half table.
Taurinid. Helmet on. Shield. Mace.
Equip.
Yeah.
And head out.
And head out.
To find Amaryllis.
Amaryllis has not spent for the last couple of days. Amaryllis was not really injured in the fight, but she was like completely used up all of her magic. So, and then she walked back to the village. So she would have just spent the last couple of days like in probably in like the center of town, just photosynthesizing while sort of arranging her thoughts on the dragon and everything. So you probably know that she's there.
You know where she is because she hasn't moved for 48 hours.
Exactly, yes. Yeah.
You knock? You like walk up and be like,
Knock on her?
yeah.
Is that actually what you're doing?
I think there'd be like a 5 minutes of like Torrent deciding what to do as he like probably like wanders by in front of her a few times. And there's not really a response, and he's like, and then eventually just like just knocks.
When he clears his throat and sort of goes to knock, as he does that, Amara slowly turns.
He'd adjust his helmet and Amaryllis.
Yes, young Torin.
Well, that is a very good thing that you bring up there. How old are you? Because I'm obviously young, Torin.
Many thousands of seasons have I seen in your world.
Okay. I mean, that's... How long's the world been about?
That I do not know. Well beyond my lifetime. I seek knowledge and history that goes beyond me.
Well, we probably need to speak to some spirits of the forest. They might be a bit... How was it Leia put it? Cantankerous. Is there any chance you'd be able to speak to them?
I have never gotten... My kin have never been the easiest of those with whom I converse. We do not match well. I did not fit in. I can communicate, certainly, but they were often beyond my understanding and I theirs. Spirits of the forest, if they are those I believe you are speaking of, I could communicate, but I fear I would not find any I would not have any advantage in speaking to them over you speaking to them.
Well, I can't speak to them, most likely, so that's one step. Oh. You didn't fit in, okay.
What temperature are you trying to get?
Dean's like, wrong mute.
Fuck.
Well, maybe you could translate.
That much I should be able to do, and perhaps my presence would set them at ease. They, depending on their particular temperament, they may not be fond of mortals. It is difficult to say. I have travelled far and wide and do not know who you would meet in these particular woods. But if my presence helps, then I shall be there.
All right then. Well, you better come with me then. Let's go and find. Well. Oh, and keep an eye out for Richter, because if it does turn into a contest, then we'll want him about.
When we are further in the forest, if young Bell has trouble locating the spirits, I may be able to gather their location from the flow, but it is not something I can do at long distance.
I'm sure she'll be fine. Belle's lived in those forests since she was a little girl. I'm sure more or less she'll be able to find them deader.
She is quite capable. I would not doubt your words.
Right then, he'd choose whichever one it would be nearer. He doesn't necessarily know where Belle is at the moment.
You could, because Amaryllis would probably be perched right next to the lodge. You could just put your head in and see if either of them are in there.
Belle would actually be spending time with Oscar training the scouts.
Okay, so that wouldn't be far away. I mostly said because Richter sometimes do a little cooking. That would be at the lodge.
Yeah, Richter would be there cooking. Yeah,
Yeah.
haven't done it in a while.
You pop your head inside and Richter's brewing up a stew.
Oh, Richter, smells nice.
Taste. I like proffer a wooden spoon with on it.
Torin would try it.
Richter, can you give me an intelligence-based cooking roll, please?
With my with my utensils, yeah.
Yeah.
Intelligence.
Yeah.
Normal roll.
Yeah, it's really good.
Holy shit.
That's amazing, honestly.
Best food we've had since the dragon.
Yeah, it's hard to believe that Richter made it. You know, it tastes just like Mum used to make.
Well, when will it be ready?
I believe it needs, and I'll look over to, I can't remember her name. I'll look over to Esmeralda Bell.
That's definitely not her name.
I'll look over to her.
Wanda! Her name is Wanda.
Her name is not Wanda. She has a name. If I have to go back and watch
I look
old
over to her
episodes.
and say about 30 minutes as like a confirmation. About 30 minutes.
She just gives you a nice warm smile, cherry cheeks. She's a very smiley lass, whatever her name is. Remember her very well, but not their name.
That's fine.
Taste from the same spoon and go, give a little warm nod and put the spoon down.
Right, okay, well maybe we can pop back in 30 minutes then. I don't really know how we measure minutes here, but sure.
Sundials. We've
They've
gotta
just
have
got an
sundials.
egg timer.
There would be sundial equivalents. Yeah, they probably
It's just
wouldn't be the
in
fancy.
in the center of Nourish town. Just have a big egg, it's constantly ticking.
I was liking the idea of an egg timer, but it's actually a sundial. It's just like an eggshell that like the light hits it.
You open the eggshell and inside there's a sundial. I like it.
So you go instead to find Belle, who is also not far away. You can hear her. Belting. I imagine when Oscar encourages you to, train the troops, you put a little bit of voice into it.
Honestly, I feel like Bella is sort of the cool teacher, where she's like,
yeah,
she's just like, okay, that's pretty great, but have you tried it this way?
Good
Think
call.
about that. Like, you know what I mean?
I was definitely imagining Belle like, at the end of this, you will wish you had died.
No, not at all. No way.
Yeah, in a little clearing.
She has a soft spot for kids since she has been on her own since she was a kid.
In a little clearing, she's training like 4 or so of the little scouts who are already, pretty good. But what Oscar is encouraging them to see is specifically Minotaur tracks and being able to tell the difference between that and any other beastie. Exploring the wilds and things like that. So you would approach while that's going on. While she's being cool teacher.
He coughed loudly.
She just sup. The chin.
When will you be done here? We're thinking of heading out to try and find these spirits.
Belle would just look to Oscar and be like, you can handle this?
I can handle these whelps.
We're about done for today anyway, right? And she'll just pick up her knapsack, strap it on, and join formation.
Good to go.
Yeah.
Now, I was kind of hoping you might say the lesson would take an extra 30 minutes because there's some really good stew brewing at the moment. Cooking.
Well, Torin, if you want to help out, you could always show these young ones how to fire a bow. By all means, we've been trying to hit that oak. It's a big target.
Belle hands him her bow, just smirking.
Thanks.
He also has that nice dad smile.
Well, I mean, I can try.
You haven't forgotten your training, have you?
I've not used a bow in years. Look, let this be a lesson that try as you might, you cannot master everything. Is a short bow a simple range weapon?
Yeah. No. Okay. Yes.
I feel like it is.
I think a short bow is. Don't consider it for this, but that's a good question.
Good preemptive.
It's dex based.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a simple. You're good. Dex based piercing.
Simple bow.
13, baby.
You hit the tree if you count the leaves and branches.
What the hell?
It's a faraway tree.
Big target.
Yeah.
I so wish I could alter fate on that just to make
it's harder to hit than a lion. Or similar big cat.
This is funny. Good line. It was good. Considering you haven't fired a bow since you were the age of these 12 to 16-year-old kids. You're happy with it.
Oh yeah.
It's not a bad show.
I wasn't really expecting to hit.
Yeah.
Valara would even give you an approving elbow check. Hey, not bad.
Well, he'd smile and literally, he's about to say something, then doesn't, just smiles and nods, and turns around, starts walking away, smiling to himself. He really wasn't expecting to hear that one.
Can I, for narrative's sake, say that Balara just sinks one into the tree as she's walking backwards away?
I'll allow it.
Yeah, and then and smiles at the
in
kids.
between the legs.
It's just under one leg, lifts a leg.
Yeah. It's like
Doxy original.
She doesn't do it that way.
It's not canon. That's Legends material.
For some reason, Oscar's just walking around with an apple
on his head.
No, she does it as she's walking
time.
backwards though, and then she just like kind of smiles at the kids and follows him, and this is just like, you said something about stew, delicious stew.
20 minutes later, delicious stew is being served out. It's lunchtime, it's a lunch stew.
Do you water some down and pour it on Amaryllis's feet? Very nutritious.
Are you actually going to do that?
No, but it is an amusing thought.
I mean, you did almost go to knock on her earlier. So.
I don't know how these things work.
The only person who kind of gets Amaryllis is Belle. Everyone else just has no clue.
Yeah.
That would be funny if you tried watering her when you found her sleeping and stuff all dormant.
Oh, she must be tired. I know.
No, I would that. This is semi-canon because Richter's sweet Babu, when she's handing out nice wooden bowl of stew to people, and it comes to Amaryllis, and she kind of slowly turns the ladle out into the bowl, not quite sure whether you eat.
Amaryllis none of the party would have ever seen Amaryllis eat.
No, so this girl has no clue.
Yeah.
I have the sweetest image of Richter just being like, no, grabbing.
Yeah.
And you can all enjoy a really good bowl of stew before heading out. It fills you with energy. It's getting cold. It's been snow flurries all day. You can't really see the sky due to the clouds. It's not a full steady snowfall. The snow is settling in the shadows of buildings and places like that.
Well,
but it's going to get
Belle doesn't
worse.
even know what we're doing. So while we're eating, she's just like, so what's the plan for the day?
Well, Leha and I have been discussing that we may be able to persuade the spirits of the forest to build a wall around town.
Hi. I've spoken to her about that as well. Yeah.
However, getting them to agree might be difficult. Let's see. Well, we'll either have to prove our worth through words or through strength. Seeing as Amaryllis is unconvinced she would be able to persuade them through words, I thought it best that we grab everyone.
It seems to me that if we were to tell them that we don't want to harm the forest anymore, we don't want to chop down any of the remaining trees that are untainted, that they would see eye to eye with us. Then again, I'm immortal. Who knows how they think? But I think if we appeal to the health of the forests, they might listen.
I agree. It's our best shout.
Who are they?
Spirits of the forest.
Spirits.
Just imagine Amaryllis, but older.
My kin can be capricious. Your idea has merit and is worth pursuing, but be warned that they may not be so amenable.
It's worth a try.
Hope Torin isn't yawning before an adventure.
He just had a big meal. Honestly, it's cruel.
Extra dumplings.
Yeah, a man can't enjoy a bowl and a tree's bowl worth of stew.
Yeah, someone's gonna have to have it.
Right? Go cold, he'll go off. It's a waste.
Well, I won't pretend to know what we're doing or how we'll do it, but I will stand there and look strong if need be. However, if we aren't looking to create new enemies, perhaps my presence would only serve to push them on the back foot, so to
We'll
speak.
need you. We'll need you in case, firstly, to appeal. Even our beefiest, even our strongest, even our least connected with nature don't want to harm the forest. We'll need
Yes.
you. And should things go awry, we'll certainly need you.
Besides, this could be a good spiritual learning experience for you. To step into the realm of Oilin and to speak with his creatures is an honor.
Belle just puts her hand on Torin's face and like makes him look away and is just like, muscles. We need your muscles.
Oh, heresy.
Before we even converse with such beings, we are traveling through the forest that has suffered much corruption. We have not been there for some time. We do not know what manner of beast, what manner of creature now lives there.
If it was just bells, she might get beaten up by another one of those boars.
Hey, that was a tree that got beaten up. I got away unscathed, thank you.
Speaking of, how are the young scouts doing?
Great. Fast learners. If I was half that fast when I was younger, well, I shudder to think how good I'd be now.
Have you
Well,
begun?
I mean, you'd probably be able to hit that target with a bow at their age.
Oh, certainly.
Not that fast then, are they?
They've only just begun.
Right, and we should bear that in mind before letting them go out into dangerous forests.
Absolutely. You ought to build them towers.
I don't disagree.
It'll
Okay,
take time, and it's the least
more-
of our priorities at the moment, but something.
More time, more lumber, more effort. Everything in this life, eh?
Aye. So where are we thinking we go to?
Well,
Maybe
that's
the place you were first spoken to, Torin?
That's a good question, really.
You don't know.
Me and Amaryllis thought that you might be able to find them in the forest, seeing as you know it so
He
well.
doesn't know.
I think we ought to go to the hillside or the cliffside that you were first spoken to.
It's possible that Trick might lead me on the path,
I mean,
the beginning
best
of my
lead.
spiritual journey. I can see there's a logic to that. I think that might work. It might not.
Within the
That hill's on the way to the forest, though, so like you might as well
within
stop
the
in.
forest itself, I may be unable to garner a location from the flow.
I'm sure if there's anything visual, I can spot it, but I think that's the best place to start.
Think more, less tracks, more. The forest is more verdant, overgrown, healthier. Perhaps that will be a sign where they still reside.
Absolutely. One thing we might consider, can the spirits be corrupted by the dragon's poison?
I suspect anything of natural means is corruptible. However, as immortal beings, of great age, their resilience would be far larger and greater than that of standard things. As
It gives
we've
me
seen,
pause to think we might face a corrupted spirit.
As we've seen, the largest of trees can absorb a great amount of the poison before facing corruption. They purify it, in a manner of speaking.
Aye.
They take it into themselves and prevent it from going anywhere it shouldn't. There's no reason that these spirits wouldn't be able to do the same. If it's a conventional poison.
Well, let's set off then.
Okay, so the plan is to go take a little stop on a hill on the way. Commune. Which you might as well. Before the corruption, traveling up the hills to the west of Cornucopia was a beautiful sight. And there still is beauty to it, especially with the snow that's starting to really settle in some places. But then you look to one side and you see the river, and you see the mud that kind of surrounds the river where there were living plants and the kind of almost veins of death that the corruption has caused from the river. And even the river is a darker, less pleasant color than it used to be. Mr. Torin, you can give me a religion check, and Amaryllis, you can give me a nature check.
Oh boy, oh boy.
You stand up there for a little bit, feeling the wind, and it's a windy day, but you don't feel that spark, that correct connection. Amaryllis, while walking, and this whole time, you've been thinking. You're a thinker. So far, you've been considering what they've been referring to spirits to probably mean Fae in one way or another. You think that might be true, but there would be your current thinking, you have to see them to work out, is that these spirits are almost like an elder Fae. That would be as far removed from you as a dog is from a wolf. There might be a connection, you might be able to communicate, but you think, you ruminate on that. You would believe that in a place like this, there would probably be one spirit that is kind of the rumination of all the energies in the place. And from your experience, and you would have encountered other similar sort of spirits and even elementals and things, you're probably going to be facing a lone elder being.
Following that logic, if likely there is a single spirit that is sort of the peak of everything, would it make most sense for it to likely reside in, say, the deepest, thickest parts, oldest parts of the forest?
You can give me another nature check.
Or is it just so alien that I don't have a clue?
I mean, the logic checks out. Your thoughts about things like this, and this is actually very similar to the Fae. Did Amaryllis spend a long time in the world of the Fae before coming to the material plane?
She would have spent her first probably like 50 odd years of life.
Yeah, so realistically not that long. But from your understanding, Fae are affected by each other, and that affects each other, and it continues and continues. And there's no real beginning, there's no real end. If these are an older Fae based off the world, not the personality, Fae are a cult of charisma, then yes, if it would make sense if there was a particular old and powerful part of the forest that would draw the spirit, which would draw the forest to grow older and more powerful, and vice versa, and there would be no beginning, would be no end. You'd even ruminate on how such a creature would be born and live and die if such a cycle exists, but that's quite beyond you. But a thing to think about.
So I assume like we've been sort of trying to get a feel for there on the hill for a while. After a bit, Amris would just speak up and say, "If no one has further thoughts, I would suggest that the deepest, the oldest, the strongest part of the forest would likely draw this type of being. And
Follow me.
be nurtured in turn." And Ambrose just keeps talking.
Yeah, he keeps talking as you walk. Yeah, I like it. Like they all walk past you and you're still talking, and then please give me a survival roll, Belle.
Oof.
16's good. You're still only level 3. A 16's still really good.
Fat +6.
It's just not as good as I expected it to be with a +6. You know?
Yeah, true. As you travel through the forest, you know you've seen this forest in spring, summer, autumn, and winter. You've seen it pure. You've seen it start to grow corrupted. Last time you were here, the waters, the springs that traveled through it had grown stagnant and muddy and sweet and pungent. That smell is still present in the forest, but it seems that those pools have dissipated. Either they've kind of sunk down into the earth or evaporated or whatever. But you do notice while you're traveling a strange plant that you've never seen before. It kind of seems to grow at the base of trees or other bushes and ferns and things. And from the stem, kind of a bubble grows. It's kind of a cloudy bubble that's, you know, fairly large. And it looks like there's maybe pollen or seeds in there. And they're so heavy they droop and they kind of rustle in the wind. You see, you know, several of these, you know, maybe a dozen as you go through the forest.
I would take care to not touch it with my hands, but collect it to bring back to Leha.
It's a very delicate thing. I don't think you have herbalism as a proficiency. But can you give me a wisdom check? That would be essentially a herbalism check.
Sure.
Is this something that's familiar to me in any way?
You can give me a nature check.
I'm doing a lot of nature checks.
As you pluck it up, the outer film, and you take the greatest care, but it's even more flimsy than you expected, and it kind of, similar to a dandelion fluff, it kind of bursts and it all flows around you. But because there's not much wind right now, all the stuff inside just kind of dissipates. I think it's reasonable you would probably take a handful of this and you know...
I would not touch it with my hands.
Okay.
But I would instruct everybody to try to get a plant not touching it with their hands.
Anyone else can give me a herbalism check if they want to try and take one of these baby plants.
Torrin won't uproot one.
I won't either.
I'm presuming I don't know what it is.
No.
Okay.
I've never seen this in these woods. The corruption shows up now. We need to take this to Leha.
Yeah,
she might know.
Amaryllis would attempt to take one out of curiosity, if nothing else.
No, again, it just sort of dissipates. And
they have an amount of liquid, right? No.
You'd think they would. They look like they would. But when it bursts, they're kind of airy and filled with, you know, just fluff.
Can I give that fluff a sniff?
You can give me a nature check.
When in doubt,
dude's gonna get high.
When in doubt, sniff the fluff.
Touch fuzzy, get dizzy.
Oh my goodness.
Touch fuzzy, get dizzy. Oh no.
You do take a deep inhale, and it does go in.
2 and a 1 this session.
Whatever it is, it goes inside. And you cough and hack and like tears. It doesn't cause you any physical pain, Well, I mean, it doesn't cause you any lasting injury. I mean, it hurts.
But bring me the Piriton quick.
Yeah, exactly. You're gonna be stuffy-nosed and sneezy for a bit.
We don't have
honestly,
tissues.
a little bit inside, you just feel a little guilty.
I'm not sure we should mess with these.
All right, we'll have to bring Leha out here then, because I want her to see this.
Yeah, okay. You can ask.
I will.
All right.
We tried to collect it, we couldn't. Like, she needs to see it.
Something in my gut tells me to leave them be.
Okay. I will.
Who took a laptop to the magical forest journey? It's Ian. You continued going through, and like you said, Belle, you have a good inkling of where you would find such a thing. In fact, as you grow closer to this part of the forest, this was actually where all those corrupted animals started showing up, the rats that swarmed. And you look on the other side of this area. I mean, you could call it a grove. A grove kind of suggests like an empty area with like surrounded by trees. But really it's like an inset divot in part of the forest.
Some
of the trees around her.
I feel like maybe Belle even has like a camp here that's built out of like roots that are sticking out of the ground. But now, like, it's just been so long since she's ventured into the corrupt woods that it may have fallen to pieces due to corruption, due to neglect.
Yeah, exactly. The roots that you would quite happily rest in before have... You know, it seems equal parts the trees kind of growing more crooked and the mud and earth changing in its properties.
Yeah.
But when you look all the way across this grove and you walk across it, and you feel like this is probably the place. In one nestled corner of it, there's a very strange looking... You always thought it was just a dead tree. When trees die, they kind of prop up against each other, and then sometimes more life grows on them as well. And it kind of resembles that. Looking at it with a different eye, this 10-foot tall hunched structure looks like kind of a vague humanoid, like leaning on itself, you know, like kind of leaning on its legs and things. So surrounded by mud and dirt that, you know, some of it is probably buried. But you can kind of work out, like, long-fingered hands that clutch its own joints. And seeing it with a different eye, you think that this must be an elder spirit that they speak of.
Belle would look back and forth between a tree that, in her mind, she lovingly nicknamed Reginald. Because she saw it looking sort of as a person, like, Reggie. Amaryllis? Reggie. Amaryllis?
Yeah, there's something just very similar between Amaryllis's body structure in the arms and torso, especially, where it's like, from a certain view, it looks completely human. When you get close, it's bark, it's wood, it's twisted, there's even like some greenish fibers in there. What this sort of thing has, that's one of the reasons why you never thought it was actually a living thing, is that where its head of the body has no facial features at all. It's just like the tree trunk kept growing. And there's kind of a big twisted knot in the tree that kind of resembles a twisted eye. And that part of the tree is almost like a birch white compared to the very dark tone, oaken tone of the rest of it. It almost looks like a tree, like a tree that gets got broken open by lightning, and another tree grew inside.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little haunting.
So I would tap on Amaryllis, and then point at Reggie.
It's so D&D to name an ancient entity Reggie.
I mean, does this sort of? I assume I have a similar reaction to Belle in that I would identify.
Look at Reggie.
Like,
Look down at yourself.
You would see life within it, right?
Yeah.
But you know what I think? I think we need a 4 to 5 to 6 to 7 minute break. It's one of those.
Precisely the amount of time it takes for me to make a coffee and
You
do
didn't
some
make a
other
pre-stream coffee this time.
stuff. No, I didn't feel the pre-stream.
Because I shamed you last time. Every time. Alright. We'll let
He
Neil
didn't
make his
shame
little
me.
coffee.
I was not ashamed. I asked permission.
We'll be
I
back.
said, "Can I go make one?" He said, "Go make one."
We'll be back one day.